Hey everybody, and welcome back. In today's video, we're going to be doing a really quick in-depth review of the Fitbit Versa. So we're going to be covering hardware, specs, general overview, my thoughts on the device, and then we'll also be walking through some of the basics using the mobile application, which is where the Fitbit kind of shines. Now, covering the good about the device first. So this is actually one that I got for my wife, and she really just loves the overall appearance and look. It's pretty simple. It has a similar look and feel to the Apple Watch. The actual band itself is relatively easy to snap on, so you'll pull this over, push this piece through this hole, and then you can slip this through just like a standard watch. I like to compare it to the Garmin Vivoactive 3 just because this is probably one of my favorite watches, and I'll put a link to that video overview in the description. So covering the device itself, you'll notice on the right hand side there's really not much going on, and then on the left hand side you have that capacitive button. So my wife enjoys this. I personally don't. I prefer a physical button. But you can press the button itself. You get this haptic feedback, kind of like a small vibration. And sometimes it just feels like when you press it, nothing's actually happening. So just not a huge fan. But you'll get your watch face, which you can customize. And then if you scroll up, you can see all of the different activities. This is something that is customizable. So again, you'll just do your quick scroll. So this I really do like. Interface is very intuitive and very quick. So the Garmin Vivoactive 3, for example, it tends to be a little bit on the slow side. You scroll and then you get the feedback. So I don't have a new screen, but you'll see how delayed it is. Whereas here, it immediately scrolls and you can select something and it'll show you the view, for example, for today, and it'll give you some more granular detail. And it has these really colorful graphs, and again, just very easy to use. And swiping left to right essentially goes back. So this will bring us back to our home screen if we keep scrolling, and then again, if you select, it'll just bring you back into whatever that prior screen was. Now we will go back to the home screen. Now this watch face, some people enjoy it. I personally don't. It makes it look kind of blurry. But we'll scroll to the left and you'll see your menu. So here there is really nowhere else you can scroll as far as up or down. So you'll see your do not disturb, brightness, volume, so kind of your basic settings there. And then to the right, you have your watch face. Scrolling up here shows weather and everything we were previously looking at. And then scrolling down essentially does nothing. And then going over to the right, you have all of your applications. So you'll see we have the EDA scan, voice assistant, weather, timer, and you can download additional applications here as well. So you'll see your ECG, something that's becoming increasingly popular. So all of those are available from your swiping right to left motion. Now that we have covered that, again, looking at the watch itself, surprisingly thick device when compared to other similar devices, doing as close as I can to a side to side. Now, one of the complaints I have about this personally is the screen is a little bit curved. It's barely noticeable, but because of that, you'll notice the screen protector that we have on this currently, it's a little bit harder to design them. So watches like the Garmin Vivoactive that have a flat face, you can buy a pretty basic tempered glass protector. Something like this, although a lot of companies now are going to Gorilla Glass, things like this, it's just harder to find traditional screen protectors for because these screen protectors don't work as well for the curved displays. So that's one complaint, and then again, the other one just being this button on the side doesn't always seem to pick up. You seem to have to push and hold. So we'll go ahead and jump over to the Fitbit app because Fitbit seems to be all about the online presence. So you can swipe up to sync with the watch. So you'll notice the watch really doesn't look any different when it's in use compared to the application itself. So you'll see we have our steps, floors, total mileage, calories, your zone, and then you can track activities. It has stress management. You can track your sleep. And then it gives you more of a granular breakdown on weather, health metrics, things of that nature. Gives you your step per hour, your weight, logging water, helps you log food if you're interested. There's a Discover tab. You have your community, and then Premium if you're interested in downloading. Now, a lot of people are asking about pricing, so I have this pulled up on the Fitbit website. So it's currently retailing for $199.95. You'll probably be able to find this through various retailers at a slightly discounted rate, but you'll see colors. We have silver, black, or carbon graphite, and then this lunar white soft gold stainless steel, which is the model that we have right here. Now, as we're scrolling through, going over the basics, it does seem like Fitbit's making a bit of a push to get you on some additional subscriptions. So one thing my wife did not particularly care for was there is a little bit of a push for premium and just kind of paying more after you've already paid quite a bit for a premium device. And you'll see things like they want to push the 6-month Calm subscription where you would pay for afterwards. So a little bit of a pain, but that does seem like that's kind of up to par with industry standards now. So not a huge deal there. Now, a couple of things to cover. So with the Fitbit, you'll see they have this daily readiness, stress management. So that is where the back comes into play. So you not only have the heart rate, but the temperature monitor as well, which helps to calculate your stress score throughout the day. And the health metrics dashboard, which we were kind of briefly glancing over earlier. Now, this is the Fitbit website. I'll put this link in the description, but I do want to go over the specs as well. So the release date, according to smartwatchchart.com, shows this as September 2020. So that's the Fitbit Versa 2 was the predecessor. So you'll see dimensions are 40.4 by 40.4 by 12.4 millimeters. So again, relatively decent sized watch, but not terribly thick or oversized. Does have a square shape with the aluminum case material, polyester silicone strap, which seems to be pretty standard. Bezel material stainless steel. You'll see the strap size is 140 to 180 millimeters for the small, and then 180 to 220 for the big. So you do have the option to buy different sizes. This right here is the small. And then water resistance up to 5 ATM. Swim proof, yes, recommended. And then you'll see the display size is 1.58 inches. So we'll compare to the Vivo Active 3. Doesn't look like there's honestly much of a difference. It just does feel for some reason like this one's thicker. It just has that general feel, and I think it might be because of this rounded edge. But it is an AMOLED display with a resolution of 300 by 300 pixels. So again, display looks really, really good. It looks pretty crisp. Really no concerns or complaints there. Again, just difficult to get a screen protector for it. You do have the always on option, although you can tell this does have a timeout by default, so that has not been changed. You can do custom watch faces, Bluetooth 5.0. It does have Bluetooth calling. You'll see GPS. It does have GPS, NFC, Wi-Fi capability as well. So you'll see 4 gigs of read-only memory. You do have cellular connectivity options, notifications, SMS alerts, a variety of different sensors, including compass, barometer, ambient light, altimeter, accelerometer, ECG, gyroscope, heart rate monitor, pulse oximeter, and a thermometer as well. So you do have your activity tracking, stress tracking. You just really don't have the incident fall detection, which I believe is on the Apple Watch. And then underwater heart rate tracking, you do not have either. It does note 20 plus sport modes, and then charging time of 1 to 2 hours with regular battery life of about 6 days. My wife said that she was getting actually over 6 days. However, that's without intense usage of the Bluetooth portion, so it wasn't connected to a phone all day, every day. And she was not logging a bunch of activity that week as far as like gym sessions and running. So if you were to use the GPS and things of that nature, that would drastically reduce the battery life. So now going to the overall impression. So comparing it to something like the Vivo Active 3, the main point that I enjoy about the Vivo Active is the flat screen, the always-on display by default, and the fact that although I've had this for about 2 years, the battery still lasts between 6 to 7 days, including the use of 4 to 5 workouts and maybe 1 GPS run. Whereas this device doesn't have the always-on display by default. You can tell that it's very crisp and clear, and I just don't think I would be able to get the same amount of use out of this device as my Vivo Active and still get the same battery life. But with that being said, it is a much smoother and crisp interface. You can see as I'm sliding over, it's almost instant feedback, which is great. And just the fact that you can always click on, get more granular detail on different things, different settings. It's really nice as opposed to the Garmin where you press a button and it just doesn't feel as fluid when you're scrolling through. So I think as far as the interface and just general feel, I think it's a great watch for the price, and it's definitely going to give you your bang for the buck. One thing I did notice online, and the final complaint I will cover about the product, is some websites were complaining that it wasn't easy to get this fixed. So there aren't as many individuals out there that can repair these, and it's just not a repair-friendly device. And being realistic, a smartwatch on your wrist is probably going to take a couple hits, especially if you're getting it to use pretty heavily in the gym. So overall, I think it's definitely a pretty solid buy, worth considering. But I think watches like this, they're more about the community. So if you have a Garmin device, you're more likely to connect with people that have Garmin devices as well and share your activities. Same thing with the Fitbit. So all in all, if you have any questions, drop them in the comment box below. But I hope that was a good enough overview of the device, and I will see you all in the next video.